feel like I sort of arrived at something of this place wherein I no longer feel beholden to superimpose these narratives upon existence, more specifically my own experience of existence, to extrapolate from whatsoever the contents of my own subjective experience may be, the immediacy of it, and from that um, extend that to being illustrative, reflective of what the totality of experience, of existence, of reality is. This realm, this sphere of activity within which we will find ourselves, very much intractably ensconced, seemingly. I don't tell myself many stories anymore. I don't try to hypothesize, conceptualize. For the most part, I try perhaps isn't even really the appropriate way of phrasing it, because no effort is really involved in the undertaking of this, of which I speak, of which I am, in some small part, I suppose, endeavoring to elucidate the particulars of which herein. In the past, I did a lot of this. It's what the majority of the videos on this channel have been, what the work, if you will, of this channel has been. To present an all-encompassing picture, a theorem of what this place is, where we are, who we are, and what our role, what our responsibility is within it, what the most appropriate conduct may be for one in response to what appear to be these fundamentally and thoroughly forlorn facts of being, of this place, of these circumstances. And if you're in any way familiar with the stuff that I've posted here, it's all been, with some few notable exceptions, thoroughly pessimistic and life-denying. Largely, if I were to condense the overall thrust of what it was that I was trying to relay through the course of making these videos, it was about life is hell. It's hell for such and such reasons, as I would time and time again enumerate. And the solution to such is to just walk away. I saw it as being the only solution. Ignore it like a toxic individual. You cease contact with it. You go no contact. You starve the demon of all attention, whether it be good or bad. You give them nothing. You give them pure indifference. And that's the way I wanted to live my life. And that's the way I suggested to no end that others should perhaps most optimally approach their own lives, to deny their lives, to have deaf ears for the siren songs of life, for these siren songs, these promises, all the things that life may seem to promise you, to deliver unto you for your efforts, for your strife and strain. It only leads you into further depths of depravity, degeneracy, corrupting whatsoever good may be inside of you, harvesting it in a sense. This whole loosh thing, right? I was very Gnostic-minded. Gnostic in the sense that this world is hell, that it's been crafted by some malefic entity, being, for the sole purpose of producing and harvesting suffering, for such is its life force. Our sorrows, our lament, our despair fuels it. It is its lifeblood. It is the lifeblood of this realm. And the realm is the body, is the mind of this malefic being, this entity, this power. And yet something of ourselves is separate to, apart from that. It exists outside of this malefic matrix. But I've found myself to be moving away from that for some time. It's not that I don't see some, perhaps, degree of merit in such conclusions, some outlooks, but ultimately I see, or have come to see, that if one is to persist in this realm and to not in some way make to flee it altogether, to terminate oneself, to terminate absolutely one's involvement with it, within it, then some effort perhaps may be made, it may be entirely incumbent upon one to seek something more, something greater within it, to draw forth as much as is possible, if it is even, if indeed it even is possible, this light, this goodness, this beauty, this purity, and bring it forth into the world, and thereby in some small measure transform the world, at least, at the very least, your own subjective sphere and those with which you are in most immediate contact with, to strive to become some sort of beacon, a doorway, a passage to this light, this goodness, this beauty that is something that may or may not be beyond the bounds of this perceivable world. And a large part of the solace, seeming solace that I found is, again, to circle back, seems to be heavily reliant upon the fact that I've ceased to tell myself stories, at least these stories, to ponder them to such great depths, to revel in them, to wallow in them. Because what purpose does that serve, really, if you are going to persist here? Why not seek the light? Why not seek the light? Do not cease to seek the light at all times. If you are indeed fated to be bound here in this, what some would say a hell realm, why not make it your life's work to, if not entirely, but in part, extricate yourself from it in some small measure, to be in the world but not of the world, as the Christians say. Find love, find beauty, wherever it may be, for it is there to be found. Is it something illusory? Is it a ruse? I don't know. You have to find out for yourself, but doing nothing and just wallowing accomplishes little more than just a further corruption of your spirit. But the question you have to ask yourself is, if this is a fight that you're willing to fight, do you want to fight? Or do you just, are you in some small part in love with your misery? Are you addicted to misery? Because it's so easy to be addicted to misery, at least I found this. Comfortably uncomfortable. Change is hard, and it's easy to think that change is an impossibility, to just persist in such a deplorable state. But what if there is more? Why not, for but a moment, attempt to suspend one's disbelief? Forget everything you've told, everything you've been exposed to, all of this dark pessimism, nihilism, things that you're so certain about, things that you're so attached to as being holy, incontestable, infallible conclusions about reality, about what people are, about what the nature of nature is, its goals, its intentions, its blind thrusting forwards for the sake of what? But what if there is something better? Something that's at present wholly occluded to your sight. Something that's right here, all around you at all times. A great peace, great contentment. An absurd peace, an absurd contentment, because it flies utterly in the face of all that seems to be. It's paradoxical, right? How can there be joy? How can there be pleasure when this whole world is burning? When there's so much pain, conflict, strife, struggle, and strain. Does everything have to make sense? Does the world itself make sense? Do you, as some kind of conscious entity that finds themselves marooned here in something of, let's be entirely honest, a state of utter amnesia, not knowing who you are, where you are, what you are, what this is? Why not lean into that? Lean into the incomprehensible, the ineffable. I think solace of a sort is to be found there, even if it is but for an instance. It's worth seeking for, I would say. So, cease not to seek, day and night, for the purifying mysteries that will purify you, turn you into a divine light, so that ye may go up on high and inherit the light of my kingdom. Peace.